where victory and glory lead. Our story begins at the Battle of Carteneau, as the red moon Dalamud falls, and the awakening of Bahamut. We are lost, thought Merlwyb Bloefhiswyn, Admiral of Limsa. Immured for eons and free at last, the primal Bahamut laid waste to the Carteneau flats, burning Eorzeans and Garleans alike. But I will find a way. Tearing her gaze away from the bloody churn, she bit down gently on her tongue. An old commander's trick, and despite the ash-laden air, the voice that issued from her throat was as clear as a compass.
Belay previous orders. All Maelstrom units are commanded to fall back, effective immediately.
In the distance, the Admiral caught a glimpse of Archon Louisoix's resolute silhouette, arms raised in the rite of summoning. Not even the 12 can help us now.
Give the foreign levy priority. Let the main hosts cover the retreat and bring up the rear.
Enzar Slafierson let go of the bridle as Merlwyb took hold of the reins. A shard of the false moon had pierced the mail under his right arm. She saw blood trail dark and steady. Her adjunct would likely not survive a hard ride.
Get those adventurers to safety,
she repeated.
I shall send you stragglers. We must regroup. See to it.
At once, Admiral. Enzar snapped a salute. He knows me too well to waste time arguing. Merlwyb reflected as she urged her faithful bird to a gallop. And he knows most of our runners are dead, or damn near. A sharp brought her back to the present. Good girl, Vicky, she murmured as the chocobo sped onward through a blur of death and ruin.
Fall back to the main host.
Merlwyb called again and again until the route became a stream, then a river, flowing towards Enzar, and she hoped, safety. But there was a knot in the crowd, fighting the flow. 12s, damn it! Always there are those who put glory before victory. Always! Merlwyb thought with rancor and spurred her chocobo forward, riding against the tide until she emerged at the rear, then pushing on towards the Garlean position.
Save your breath, Admiral! I mean to make those Garlean curs pay, and pay they will!
Roswyn spat, and Merlwyb was reminded of the old saying, pirates weep with their swords, and their tears are red.
So many sirens gone. Spleeny Ebril won't sing no more, nor Annis Blackeye, nor... There you are, you liberalist tin-pot bastards! Get over here!
A savage joy blazed in Roswyn's eyes at the sight of something behind Merlwyb, and the Maelstrom commander touched her spur to Victory's left flank, as she unholstered her pistol in one smooth motion. Death penalty barked, and a Garlean legionnaire tumbled backwards. 2 sharp coughs from Annihilator, and more men fell, to reveal the beetle-black gleam of Magitech armor cresting the rise. It has a beak, Merlwyb thought with strange calm, her legs squeezing Victory's flanks of their own accord. The chocobo sprang as a Magitech cannon roared. Then Merlwyb was falling, the world drowning in blood and feathers, and she knew no more. The most rest you've had in years, I'll wager. Merlwyb awoke to a familiar sight, her quarters on the Triumph, with Enzar, his face graven with fatigue, but alive and on his feet. How long? She demanded. Present course and speed? 2 days, Limsa, 8 knots. He answered. The sirens? Roswyn? Enzar laughed. Merlwyb could almost hear the rust in it. Command, especially the command of retreating forces, was a somber business. The bloody executioners hauled you from the front like pullers with bulging nets. But they had no luck convincing Captain Roswyn to join the retreat. Then came the last of our dread pirate crew 3, the Kraken's Arms, and Carvalin swept her up onto the saddle like a bloody knight out of Ishgard. Last I saw, they were trading curses. Good. Merlwyb willed her eyes to stay open. She was suddenly very tired and could not bring to mind the names of the others who had been present. No matter. Enzar would know. The retreat from Carteneau. I ordered a unit be given priority. Did you get them to safety? Enzar looked at her, his brow furrowed. Beg pardon, Admiral? My orders were to bring up the rear as the main host retreated. Gathering any stragglers you directed towards us, then begin regrouping. You did not order that any be given a priority over another. The coming days were too full for Merlwyb or Enzar to fret over much about her odd lapse. She had taken a blow to her head, after all, and it was a trifle compared to what awaited them in Vilbrand. As the Triumph neared home, they saw livid crystals bursting from Pharos Sirius, flaunting their corruption for all to see. Galadion Bay was a floating Carteneau, the sea strewn with bodies, debris, and hollow-eyed survivors of the tidal wave that had scoured the coastline. Enzar was lucky, Merlwyb thought as she surveyed the destruction. Gods, what size these shards! They make an eighth hell of this fair anchorage, and what of we who have been spared? How can we go on? How can we go on when so much has been lost? I will find a way. Merlwyb ordered that the Maelstrom's temporary command be established at the Merlwyb dry docks, sheltered from the worst of the great wave by the god's grip. From there, the remains of Limsa Lominsa's great armada sailed with food and supplies, aid and succor, and women of strength and men of compassion. Admiral Merlwyb slept little, but when she did, it was always one of two dreams that she dreamed. In one, she bit down on her tongue and then called out,
"Give them priority! Let the main host cover their retreat!"
In the other, she rode a destrier in the cool of night, the bird crooning contentedly and the rider murmuring, "Good girl, Vicky." Time passed, some wounds healed, and others did not. The fishing boats returned to sea, and the merchants, deckhands, and cut purses to the docks. The new Maelstrom command took shape on the upper decks. The ships of the Armada returned to their proper anchorage, and the Merlwyb dry docks were commissioned as a shipyard. During those turbulent days, those who knew Merlwyb best, and they were not many, remarked that she had been changed by Carteneau. To the scores that came to the Admiral for help, she gave no false comfort. But neither was she as hard as she had once been. She spoke instead of hope, courage, and the lost warriors who stood with the Archon on the Carteneau Flats. For this, Merlwyb won the love of her people, yet struggled to accept it. So unsettling did the thought seem to her that one night, unable to sleep, she wandered the city, finding herself at length outside a Nishgardian stable, as young Chocobo murmured drowsily within. When work began on the first of the Thalassocracy's new warships, there was no question as to whom the honor of naming it would go to. One fine day soon after, half the city turned out to see the Victory's keel laid. When the Admiral of Limsa Lominsa inscribed her name upon the ship's oak with a great flourish, the cheers rolled like thunder across the tranquil waters of Galadion Bay, and set the gulls and ravens flapping from every mast.
This content was brought to you by the Eorzean Archives. I'm Archon Charette Tia.
And I'm Archon Elio Faucheron. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and comment down below any topics you might also be interested in.